All right, so you're ready to unlock the genius of Christopher Nolan, huh? With all these notes you've gathered, we've got a lot to explore in this deep dive.
Yeah, it's really something. What immediately struck me, going through all of this is how much your notes focus on, that mind-bending nature of his films.
Right. That's what he's known for. I mean, but how did he go from, like, indie darling to blockbuster, like, mastermind? Right. How does that even happen?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a heck of a jump.
Well, I mean, he didn't just kind of appear out of thin air, right?
Mhm.
I mean, before he was tackling Gotham's mysteries in The Dark Knight, he honed his skills with smaller projects,
Right.
like Following. It was this
Okay.
neo-noir thriller that, proved that he could captivate audiences even with a shoestring budget,
Total.
smaller film.
And you can see that indie spirit, though, woven into, like, the DNA of his bigger films.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we have to talk about Memento, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who else could make a movie that runs in reverse and turn it into a modern classic? It's pure Nolan.
Yeah, and think about watching it for the first time.
Oh, I know.
You're piecing together the story
Yeah.
alongside the protagonist,
Right.
Guy Pearce's character, right?
Yeah.
Who's struggling with memory loss. So it's like working on a puzzle, but the pieces are all jumbled up in time.
It's so good.
And Nolan drops you right into that disorientation.
Yes.
And it's like incredibly effective.
And he somehow makes you love it. I remember feeling both frustrated, obviously, because you're like, what is going on? But exhilarated.
Yeah.
It's like my brain was getting a workout, like I was being challenged, and I don't know, I liked it.
Well, he doesn't spoon feed the audience.
No, he doesn't.
Right? This is great.
And that's what I like about him.
And that's what makes his film so rewatchable, right?
Yeah.
You pick up on new details,
Just totally.
new layers of meaning with each viewing.
Okay, so we've got Following. Small, gritty thriller. Boom. Memento explodes onto the scene, playing with time in a way that no one had really seen before. Where does he go from there? He takes that complexity to a whole other level with Inception.
Oh, yeah?
Dreams within dreams, each with its own rules, its own ticking clock. It's easy to get lost in that labyrinth of a narrative, but that's part of the thrill, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's a testament to his ability to ground those high concept ideas in emotional stakes.
Right. Yeah.
In Inception, DiCaprio's character, Cobb, he isn't just navigating, multiple dream levels. He's confronting his own guilt and grief.
Right.
That emotional core is what makes the mind-bending elements resonate,
It's so true. I mean, that spinning top at the end,
Oh, come
is it a dream or is it reality? We're still debating that, like years later.
Oh, I know.
And you mentioned the emotional core, which makes me think about Interstellar. Here you have this, like, sweeping space, epic, wormholes, black holes, all that cool, like, science fiction stuff. But at its heart, it's a story about a father's love for his daughter. Like, how crazy is that?
And that emotional weight, right?
Yeah.
That human connection, it makes the vastness of space feel somehow more relatable.
Yeah.
He makes us feel the weight of those impossible choices, the sacrifices that come with like exploring the unknown. And he does it all while grappling with these huge existential questions.
Yeah. You're leaving a Nolan film and you're not just entertained, which is, that's fine, but you find yourself pondering some pretty big questions. Like, take Inception, for example. Is Cobb's spinning top really a reliable indicator of reality? I don't know. Or, like, how about Interstellar? Is love a quantifiable force that transcends dimensions? I mean, come on.
Right.
He doesn't shy away from these big ideas.
No, he doesn't.
And he packages them in these incredibly compelling ways. He even makes theoretical physics visually stunning. Like, how?
Right.
That's crazy.
That's a great point. You have these incredibly complex concepts, but they never feel dry or academic. He finds ways to make them visually spectacular and emotionally engaging.
And he's able to pull you into those experiences so effectively because of his use of IMAX.
Oh, yeah.
We have to talk about how much he loves that format.
Oh, my God.
It's not just about a bigger screen, though, is it?
Well, it's about clarity. It's about immersion, the feeling that you're right there in the world he's created.
Yes.
The aerial battle sequences in Dunkirk, for example,
Oh, my God.
breathtaking
Mhm.
on a grand scale. But that IMAX clarity allows you to see the fear in the eyes of those young soldiers.
It's intense.
Oh, man.
So intense.
It's a visceral experience.
It is, and that IMAX experience isn't just about spectacle. It's about pulling you into the internal struggles of his characters.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Nolan protagonist for a second. You've got Cobb in Inception, Cooper in Interstellar, even the detectives in Memento and Insomnia. They're all driven, flawed, often wrestling with their own inner demons.
They are. You're absolutely right. They're often haunted by their pasts, driven by a need for redemption or a desire to make things right. Think about Cobb's guilt over his wife's death.
No, yeah.
Or Cooper's desperation to save humanity, even if it means sacrificing his relationship with his daughter.
It's like they're carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, and that weight is often both literal and metaphorical in a Nolan film, which I think is so interesting. And it's not just the heroes who are complex. His villains are equally fascinating.
Absolutely. They're not just there to provide obstacles. They often reflect the darker aspects of the hero's journey or challenge their worldview.
Yeah.
Look at Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight. I mean,
Oh, come on.
chaos personified, a terrifying force that pushes Batman to his limits.
The brilliance of that performance and the way Nolan writes the Joker is that you kind of understand where he's coming from, even if his methods are horrifying.
Sure.
There's a depth to his villainy that you don't always see in superhero films.
Exactly. And that speaks to Nolan's ability to elevate genre filmmaking. He takes these familiar tropes, like the superhero origin story or the heist film,
Right.
and infuses them with this incredible intelligence and emotional depth.
It's like he's saying, yeah, we can have explosions and mind-bending action sequences, but we can also make you think, make you feel something real. Like, it can be both.
Right.
It doesn't have to be one or the other.
And he's not afraid to challenge audience expectations.
Right.
The Prestige, for example, is a period piece, a story about rival magicians.
Right.
But it's also a meditation on obsession, ambition, and the price of genius. It's a film that stays with you long after you've seen it, prompting discussions and debates.
Oh, for sure. It's like a magic trick in itself, the way
Yeah.
he misdirects your attention and then pulls the rug out from under you.
Speaking of misdirection, we'd be remiss not to mention his masterful use of sound design. He understands the power of sound to create atmosphere, to build tension, to manipulate emotions.
Oh, yeah, the sound design. It's so distinct and deliberate. Think about the way he uses music, like the ticking clock motif in Inception or the haunting score in Dunkirk.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
He often uses sound in unconventional ways, like the shepherd tone in Dunkirk, which creates this ever-rising sense of dread.
Yeah.
It's incredibly effective.
It's like he's playing with your senses, keeping you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid to crank up the volume when he needs to. I've definitely had moments in his films where I've had to, like, lean in to hear the dialogue over the sound effects or the score, but I don't hate it.
Well, it's a deliberate choice, though. A way of emphasizing the immersive quality of his filmmaking.
Totally.
He wants you to feel every gunshot, every explosion, every roar of the engine. It's all part of the experience.
It's true. It's an experience that has, like, influenced a whole generation of filmmakers, I feel like. His fingerprints are all over modern cinema, from the resurgence of practical effects to the willingness to embrace complex narratives.
Yeah, he's shown that you can have both critical and commercial success without compromising your vision.
Yeah.
He's a true auteur, someone who has created a unique and instantly recognizable style.
You know you're watching a Nolan film from the opening scene, right?
Yeah.
That blend of spectacle and intellect, that willingness to push the boundaries of what cinema can do, it's all there.
It's true. And it's exciting to see him continue to evolve as a filmmaker. I mean, his latest project, Oppenheimer, seems like a departure from his previous work, you know?
Total departure.
A historical biopic about the father of the atomic bomb.
Which, knowing Nolan, probably means it's going to explore the quantum mechanics of guilt and the moral complexities of scientific discovery. He always finds a way to make it cerebral.
Right. It's a testament to his range, his ability to tackle different genres while still maintaining his signature style. He's not content to rest on his laurels.
Yeah.
He's always looking for new challenges, new ways to push the boundaries of storytelling.
Which brings us back to you. You've been diving deep into his work, clearly fascinated by his films. What is it about Nolan's approach to filmmaking that you find most compelling? It's his ability to weave these intricate narratives while still packing an emotional punch. I'm always amazed at how he can make you think and feel at the same time.
Exactly. He doesn't underestimate his audience. He respects their intelligence and their capacity for emotional engagement. He's not afraid to challenge them, to make them work a little, to unravel the mysteries of his films.
And that's what makes his films so rewarding. You feel like you've gone on a journey, you've had to engage with the material on a deeper level. It's not passive entertainment.
It's a dialogue. He's presenting you with these puzzles, these moral dilemmas, and inviting you to grapple with them alongside his characters. And there's no right or wrong answer, which is what makes it so fascinating.
It's like he's saying, here's something to chew on, something to ponder long after the credits roll. And we're still talking about his films years later, debating the endings, analyzing the symbolism, trying to crack the code of his storytelling.
Exactly. And that's the mark of a true auteur, someone whose work sparks conversation, challenges conventions, and leaves a lasting impact on the cinematic landscape.
He's definitely left his mark. And as you continue to explore his filmography, you'll discover even more layers to his work, more details to obsess over, more questions to ponder.
Each viewing is like peeling back another layer of the onion. You notice new things, make new connections, gain a deeper appreciation for his craft.
It's true. I'm always finding something new in his films, even on the third or fourth viewing. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Christopher Nolan, what's the one thing you hope our listener takes away from this conversation?
I think it's important to remember that Nolan's films are meant to be experienced, not just passively watched. Dive into those meticulously crafted worlds he creates. Engage with the complexities of his narratives. Don't be afraid to get a little lost in the maze.
And don't be afraid to hit that rewind button. You'll probably discover something new each time.
Absolutely. Embrace the challenge, the ambiguity, the sheer audacity of his vision.
Beautifully said. Now, before we go, we have one final thought for you to ponder as you embark on your own Nolan-esque explorations. Does his intricate plotting, his love of a good puzzle, ever overshadow the emotional core of his stories? Or does that complexity actually enhance the emotional impact, forcing you to connect with the characters on a deeper level? There's no easy answer, but it's something to keep in mind as you delve further into his filmography.
Happy viewing.
Until next time on The Deep Dive.